We are moments away from the start of the Valencia Marathon, Trinidad Alfonso EDP 2021. 42.2 kilometers, 26.2 miles. And there the gun goes, and hopefully safely away. One person you definitely want to see safely away, Jeffrey Kamara. Having seen him in 2016 in the World Half Marathon Championships in my hometown of Cardiff, where I was on the same start line with the masses, and I didn't expect to see Jeffrey on the floor as I went through the first few meters of the race. And having seen an athlete on the floor in a mass race, you just don't expect them to pick themselves up. And I think he went through that first mile inside 4 minutes and 20 that day, and went on to win the World Half Marathon title. Again, one of his 3 titles over that distance. So that's the resiliency of this athlete, and that's why if anyone can come back from the ankle issues that he's had after that phenomenal 27:01 at altitude that got him in his place in the Olympics, then I know that he would have been so disappointed not to have been able to take to that start line in Tokyo. But again, we talked about it might play into a few of these athletes' plans where it hasn't quite gone to plan, but maybe it will all click today, and all that hardship and that bad luck that they've had previously will all be forgotten with a great run in Valencia today. So there, look at that, that's a great sight. I tell you what, this is a great sight for the organisers. So the race itself, in terms of numbers, the masses, has gone up year on year. So the entries 2 years ago in 2019 was up to 25,000. They'd sold out 30,000 for 2021, but the pandemic meant that they had to cancel the mass race. So just the elites took to the start line last year. But the masses are back. Not in the same numbers as 2019, it's important to recognise that, and it is in waves. But I think the fact that the masses are back, and they're expecting around 16,000 finishes today, so that really puts the smile back on the club runners, the mass runners, the charity runners, and definitely the organisers' faces. So up front we're looking at around about 2:55 per kilometre. Ngannou there, the pacer, with the NN singlet on, just a slight lean forward. So there's 3 paces in there. Bib 89 also will be tucked alongside in that group, as well as Musco, the Bib 87. Last year, the first 5 kilometers was 14:42 for men and around about 16.5 for the women. So they passed 61:41 at halfway for the men and 69:04 for the women. So again, welcome if you're joining us here for the Valencia Marathon, Trinidad Alfonso EDP 2021. My name's James Thie. I'm absolutely delighted to be sat in the commentary box in the running city, watching some of the best runners in the world attack this course record. Evans Chebet last year, 2:03, and it is the fourth fastest marathon in the books at the moment, but those organisers have ambitions of going even faster every year. And then that 2:17.16, Paris Chipchir, that set her on her way to that gold in Sapporo. And winning that New York City Marathon in one of the few marathons that don't have pacemakers. So I know my good friend Dave Monty and a lot of others, if you look at the various message boards on the likes of Let's Run, and there's lots of talk about, you know, whether there should be paces in every major city marathon, and it's a good discussion point. But I think that where you are chasing critical times, and we do have athletes chasing those those world qualifying times for the World Championships in Oregon, as well as the European Championships, that they are looking to get fast times today. Whereas going back to New York, it is about the win, it's about the race there, and it's about the experience. So a little bit of everything here in Valencia. And you can see the spectators on the course side, making sure that the athletes get some good support in these early stages. So always a good bit of communication between the paces, just to make sure that those first few kilometers are not too fast, not too slow, that they settle into a rhythm, and also that the pack behind them has gone with them. So there's Scott Overall, one of our British Olympic athletes. So he's got a pacing job today. So the Blackheath and Bromley athlete, Scott, who works at the London Marathon as well. So his day job is working in the marathon, and his weekend job looks like it's working in the marathon here in Valencia. So you'll see the lead women there in that big group. I'm going to try and pick them out as we go through, and they'll be mixed in and out with some of the best local runners as well. Some of the top quality Spanish Masters athletes will be also tucked in that group as well. Always a good tradition of Masters athletes here. I think Nancy Jalak there was at the back of that group. So her 2:36 best is due some revision. So I think Etienne Walde, Juliet Chakwai are just some of the athletes tucked in that group, but still very, very early stages, as I think they've approaching 2 kilometers in that big lead female group. So you can hear that rhythmical noise of those carbon-plated shoes that you can't escape these days, and you can't escape talking about them either. But they've definitely helped change part of the landscape. But some have argued for the better. Definitely a little less impact on some of the joints of the marathon runners, and it's given a new lease of life for certain runners as well. The demands of the marathon, such on the body. To look at likes of a good friend of mine, Steve Brace, who's cut a double knee operations later. So a major city marathon podium multiple times, Steve. But hopefully these shoes are going to offset those hip and knee operations of our greats in a few years' times as well. So, as well as the times that we have seen on the roads over multiple distances. So you see the orange and blue of the Rosa camp there. So one of those will be Lawrence Chirono. There's the 3 paces up front. Sounds like they're having some kind of conversation. That's a good sign always early on. But it's fairly controlled. A few people out for their Sunday morning run. A little look to their right, and there's the elites going past them in this Valencia Marathon Trinidad Alfonso EDP race for 2021. So 3 kilometers. There you can see about 8:50. So then we're looking around about that, 2:55, 2:56. So just a fraction outside that, but that's never too much of an issue earlier on. So it won't be too far off the first 5 kilometer split last year of 14:42. So let's say Strudzel, the other pacemaker in. This is the 69.45 group. They're looking at 3:18s. Chazarek, the other pacer in that group, as well as Scott overall. So they're looking at 3:18s, 3:19s, anything sub 70 minutes through that first half. So I think that 2:20 barrier today is the aim. I think 2:17.16, I think that might be out of reach in the women's, but definitely the quality of the men's field. That 2:03 barrier is definitely realistic. So heading down towards Marina Real Jean Carlos. So it's the port area of Valencia. So it has its links with Trinidad Alfonso. A beautiful place to run as well. So if you're not running through the heart of Valencia, through the amazing Tura Park, then if you're running down on the water side as well, so many different places to run in Valencia. So at 4 kilometers there, we'll take the left-hand turn and then head down past the plage, past the beach. So there won't be too many people on the beach this morning, and that will be the furthest point from the runners' minds. Maybe they've booked a bit of a break, a bit of a vacation after this to relax. Wouldn't be a bad city to stay on for a few days and rest up. And then on the screen, that looks like a Salford vest at the back of that group there. South London Harriers as well. So I think it's almost 500 Brits have made their way over. So as I said, over 100 nationalities that will be taking place, whether it's in the elites or whether it's in the masses. So I think the stats are, so it's over 9,000 runners from Spain, and I think the French are next highest. It's almost 1,400. Italian 1,200, and then yes, GB 500 runners, as similar numbers to Belgium and Holland as well. But it's great to see so many countries. I think that was one thing that we did miss over the previous year or 18 months, was the ability to travel as runners, and it's always a big, part of, especially within Europe and those traveling even further afield, especially with marathons. It's almost put into people's holidays. So go and run a marathon and their vacation is going somewhere nice, and Valencia definitely has that appeal. So this lead group, you can see it's a big pack there. You can see the lead car up front. So they won't be far from the first 5 kilometer split. In the back of that group, Aspana Negasa, the Ethiopian athlete that is wearing the headband, and he's got the arm warmers on, so keeping warm early on, and obviously not wanting to get too involved with the early action. It looks like the second wave is around about, I think, a few minutes away from going. Good news, or looks like a good bit of pacing early on as they go towards this 5 kilometers, and it should be good news. I think that they are operating very close to that course record pace in men, but we'll also get the women's half first 5 kilometer split towards that halfway split, but So not quite expecting it to go towards the record pace there in the women as the second wave are off. Heading out on Valencia Marathon. So the marathon start and finish are just such close proximity. So again, for runners and for the organisation, it's a dream of a course and infrastructure as well, with the space that is down here by the Culture for Arts and Sciences, where the finish here is hemispheric, and the museum, the aquatic centre. There's just a nice bit of footfall space. It's nice wide open roads as well for those masses to start off safely. And then listening to the organisers talk about the course. So many expected that they couldn't make it faster from 2020, but they managed to take out a couple of small little indentations on the course that just made it a fraction faster. So the race, there you go, 14:44, so almost bang on pace. So just 2 seconds, but that's really nothing at this type of level, and they can easily make that up in a kilometre or so. Now they've settled into the race pace, and now they know there's a big group there. Look like Norbert Keegan there at the back, 2:05 lifetime best, and there you go. So the women inside that 16:30 goal. Banas Chapkaruri there, 16:26. It was Tusai and Nancy Chalag there are the leaders through that. They've gone in front of the pacers. So the two pacers there, you can see or three pacers I should say, probably just have a little word to them, whether they're trying to push the pace on already. So you can see Scott Overall there just making his way back, and maybe almost explaining that we are on the pace that was requested. Then just keep it nice and settled. They obviously do have the different drink stations and water stations to navigate as well, and sometimes pacers are quite smart with that in the women's fields, where they will move out of the way to make sure that the elite women can see their drinks, being that those special ones put out for them are just so vital to the fluids. You can see our elite men, they've done exactly the same, so navigated their first drink station, and they run with that probably for a few hundred meters to make sure they get as many fluids on board. So the different amounts of carbohydrates within them will be measured to the runner themselves. They would have practiced in multiple training sessions. But it is a skill. We saw that in various city marathons this year, where it can be very difficult, and in large packs as well, to navigate and make your way to the drinks table. We've seen many near misses, and many runners almost colliding with themselves with the table. And some drink suspenders it's been high-fiving themselves that they've suspended the drinks to the runners in close proximity as well, just being that it's so important as the race goes on that those runners have got their fluids on board. So if they don't get them on board, then it could well be hitting the dreaded wall. But they're the smiles of the masses as they go back. They weren't here 12 months ago, so some of them would have been on the streets watching the likes of Lawrence Chirono, but they wouldn't have been towing the line themselves. So pacers in both have done a good job through that first 5 kilometers. So the fastest times in the world this year. Totus Okorie, the athlete that won in that Milan race, 2:05.57. Bashir Abdi, that European record in Rotterdam for the Olympic bronze medalist, who out-sprinted Lawrence Chirono that day in Sapporo. So Bashir Abdi's 2:03.36. I should probably give a mention to our very own British Jake Smith, who I coach, who helped pace Abdi that day. And Bashir was absolutely delighted, the Gary Locker coached athlete, to break that European record. That's the second fastest time in the world this year. Tamer Tola, Amsterdam, showing the strength of the marathons in the Netherlands at the moment. So 2:03.39 for the Ethiopians. So that's the top three fastest times in the world for men. Joycelyn Chepkosgei, that winning time in London back in October, 2:17.43. Angela Tanui, another Kenyan, another fast time in Amsterdam, 2:17.57, second on the world list. Jabatu Asmawal, the Ethiopian, second at London and third on the world list this year, 2:17.58. So they're the figures that Valencia, I know they pride themselves in relation to the other marathons, and this is obviously the end of season ability to put yourselves up those rankings. No one's going to do much after this weekend. This is the end of what has been a super busy period of marathon running in the fall period. So Bernard Negello, I think Victor Chombo, another one of the pacers in there. So it is 88, Bernard Negello on the screen in front of us. That slight lean forward. But running three abreast at the moment, so making sure that there's a good bit of windbreak behind. So it sounds like they are going into a bit of a headwind at the moment. So just getting a bit of instructions from the organisers' course side. That lead women's group that, as I said, has a lot of local and international runners tucked in there as well, that all have their sub 220 goals. So if you are looking for any runners in particular and you haven't seen them on the screen, then do download the app. The Valencia Marathon app has a great ability to pick splits up, search for your individual runners as well, so it's very worth doing that. So they've turned away from the beach and heading towards one of the two universities in the city. So next split that we will get will be the 10 kilometers. So if the men have maintained their pace, then they'll be looking around about the 29.5-minute mark. And women, if they can be inside 33 minutes, then that really would mean that we're operating way inside 220 pace at the moment. So the men just operating outside 203. Pace probably 2:03.30, but definitely inside 2:04 pace at the moment. But we've seen some quality second halves in various city marathons. As you can see, the athlete wearing number 1, Lawrence Turono, looking very calm, very relaxed early on, as in he should. You'd like to think that someone coming towards 10 kilometers of 42.2 kilometers should look fairly relaxed. See Nancy there, Jalat, who's got a big revision to her marathon best today, I think. Bonner's Chepkurui there, 2:21.26 personal best in the Kenyan. You can see different nationalities tucked in that group, Germany, Belgium. It's an international flavour. That could have been better too. Herper at the back of that group, another 2:21 Ethiopian athlete. So in comparison to some marathons that have a women-only start race, the women will benefit from having masses around them, but it makes it sometimes a bit more challenging race position-wise as the race unfolds to see where people are in proximity to them. So that will be one thing that they maybe get some information from the people around them. Charlotte Desso, just another one of the 205 guys, or sub 205 guys in this league group. Samuel Trezeguet, the Eritrean. Very economical running style, slightly hunched shoulders. But again, he's got a fairly clear view of the road at the moment, so and he's got one of the pre-race favourites on his right, as well as the 3 pacemakers in front. Alexandra Masato, the Kenyan there, wearing 87 on the right, 89, I think, Victor Chumbo, who's seasoned pro at pacing. No, he's on the left in the NN colours, and then pacer 88 in the middle. Bernard Nageno, again, seen him previously, and again always does a really good job as well. So these are very experienced pacers in there. So pacers we expect to do a good job. Victor Chumbo, interesting character. So his father had him concentrating on school for a majority of his young childhood, but the eldest of 7, and definitely really showing that he's maturing as an athlete and as a pacer. And again, he's thought of highly in the NM ranks as well. So Turono from the Dr. Rosa camp there in that orange singlet with the blue shorts. Number 9 back of that's Norbert Keegan. So it is a healthy lead group at the moment. Tedo Abate there. You can see in those long white socks. So wearing the shades, number 23. I don't know whether that is 23. Doesn't look like Koeniat. So I get confirmation on that. 4 tucked in there, Kinde Atwana. So yeah, that story from London, heartbreaking. You know, to get yourself in shape, to get to London, and then well, I think health comes before anything else. So to actually end up with COVID, and obviously to recover from that, but he did so, and he's done so well to prepare for this. So as I said, he will be super hungry. Our lead men pacing the lead women. So controlling things up front. So Struzel, Cesarek, overall. But then they go, there you can see, and the paces previously mentioned, Masato and Chombo, 29.37. Oh, sorry, 29.27, I should say, correcting myself. So, as we said, yeah, we were looking for that time, and it is inside the 29.30 that we wanted, so just 3 seconds outside the time from 12 months ago. So absolutely bang on at the moment in terms of pacing. Great job by our trio up front. And there you can see the precarious nature of the drink station, and not being handed out today. We've seen that in some marathons, so it is tables today. But it's obviously been on the right side of the road. It's been aware of what's going on at that exact moment as well. So runners in the marathon or any distance have a great ability to get into the zone. But you need to zone out of that as well to make sure that you do hit the right drinks table. You do pick up your drink. I know many of the teams and management will make sure that their athletes have practiced this and that their drinks are well signposted for them. Different colours, different flags on them. But yeah, you can't underestimate the importance of getting your right drink on board. And there was a little bit of an incident, wasn't there, in the Olympics of a certain runner knocking other people's drinks over, but we won't talk too much more about that. So if you did see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. I think that might have been one of the water stops. But again, they'll be important in today's race as well. So there'll be obviously the specific drink stations themselves, but there'll also be water stops. So even though we're expecting a high of not too much for these athletes, around about 15 degrees, they're still be looking to make sure that they hydrate. And they just keep their core body temperature as effective as possible. Next split we get for the women. We were looking, could we be inside 33 minutes or very close to that through the first 10 kilometers for our lead women. In the back of that group we've got a 2:61. See on that left-hand side, Bonas Chepkururi there. But they're getting great shelter at the moment. Asmera Gabriel, the NN athlete, and there you go, bang on schedule, 32:56. So it is Bonas Chepkururi there, 32:56, leading the women. Ruma Tuzay and Nancy Gillette, the athletes that are tucked right in that lead group. So good pacing. It's been nice and consistent early on in this race. It's exactly what was requested by the athletes, by the managers, by the coaches. It's the meticulous preparation. So and just a few seconds faster than course record pace at the moment. So even though we were talking down, or it's been talked down, course record pace in the women, at the moment the men are the ones 3 seconds outside and the women are 3 seconds inside. But that second half 12 months ago from Paris Chipchir, the Olympic champion, so 69.04 first half and second half 68 minutes. So that is some damage over the second half. So a few cowbells on the side of the course. Some good news, good noise as the runners pass safely. I'm sure many of them are out there for their friends and families. But the good news being that they're that second wave, and I think maybe even the third wave has gone off now. So they'll be delighted to see the different people that they'll be supporting out on the course, making their way through the streets of Valencia. And this point, this 10K point, really gives a great bit of cheering for spectators, because our runners will head out now and then double back. 20 kilometers is just a stone's throw from here. So for the runners, so it's almost a 10-kilometer loop that they head out now. So past the Rotunda del Monado, and then a couple of long sections as well where they can really get into their running. So we're talking almost miles straight bits of running on the course. Some of those will be into that slight headwind. When they do head east each time, they will get a bit of breeze behind them. So these pacers are going to really earn their money today. So they're going to have their head down at certain sections and then try and be nice and controlled in other sections. And that's the difficulty sometimes, where you're going in and out of certain paces. Thanks, Yuri, for the heads up. The runner with those sunglasses being the athlete chasing the Brazilian record. So Daniel do Nascimento, so chasing that famous world record at the time, wasn't it? So Ronaldo da Costa, if you remember that, back in 1998 in Berlin, that 2:06:05 clocking, when super shoes were just a dream, a distant thing of the future. But that 2:06 clocking at the time, when yes, Da Costa, a famous name, those that know their marathon running. So will that record, you know, stay intact today? As you can see, things starting to splinter already. A little bit surprised by this. So whether that's the nature of the wind, whether that's the nature of the pacing. So just the pacers might want to just take a little look over their shoulders, but they do have people with them, so they might not be overly concerned at the moment. But it has left a little bit of a gap back to Lance Chirono, so he won't really want to be leading the group of chasers, and he wouldn't have expected, with 37 minutes on the clock, not to be sat in a nice group, just getting a few more kilometers clipped out. So this is fascinating in the very early stages of the race to have almost a break on. So our three pacers, and they're to all knowledge, you know, sticking to the pace that they were requested. And then it looks like athlete wearing 9, Norbert Keegan, is the runner that's gone with them. So whether that broke up at the last drink station. And there we go, Chirono just easing his way back. So often do find that where the drink stations, where there can just be a little bit of a gap grow. Gabriel Gay there, the Tanzanian athlete. Again, he's a sub-2:05 athlete as well. So Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Tanzania in this leading group, as well as the Brazilian athlete that we mentioned that was in there a second ago. Cholo Desso there at the back of the group, just checking his watch. Another Ethiopian athlete there, Andanga. Look at that beautiful view of the plage, of the beach, the sandy beaches. So for traveling to Valencia, obviously you can come direct, but there are some good options, you know, if you're coming in from Barcelona, or as I did, I flew into Alicante, and then you've got a train or a bus option just a few hours up the coast. So some beautiful coastline and easy access wherever you are, predominantly in Europe. So again, that's what makes it such a you know, well sought after marathon this time of year. such good conditions. Anywhere where there's 320 days of the year, it averages 18 and above. So that's pretty good for all conditions. Esper and Nagasa there with the long sleeves on, and I'm sure at some point it'll be discarded. So Scott Overall in the centre. He's a 2:10 marathon runner. Said earlier, works at the London Marathon, so the day job is working and talking about the marathon. And at the weekends, just casually pacing the women towards sub 2:20. And at the moment doing a great job with Kenyan and German colleagues alongside him. You see Gary O'Hanlon there, the Irish Masters athlete that I mentioned on the start line. And some quality Spanish Masters athletes. Don't forget those with a view on the Spanish record today. Ayad Lambasan's record from last year, 2:06.35. Hamid Ben Duet is the athlete with an eye on that. He's going to have some good support out there. There's some good paces as we go through each of the group. Javier Guerrera, sorry, the athlete that's representing Spain in the Olympic Games, who ran so well here 12 months ago. So you can just hear that wind out on the course. So, and this was a similar section to where the where the men's race just broke up. So not expecting the same in the women's, given just the large pack that we have at the moment. Tom Cothaway to the back of that group in the Salford vest, so getting a little bit of airtime there. Beautiful side-on shot with Norbert Keegan there. And he's someone that wanted to play close proximity with those pacers. So with only 42 minutes on the race clock, so next split we'll be looking at is that 15 kilometers. Some runners and coaches and agents get excited about Valencia. You only have to look at Elizabeth Gidai's half marathon last October, so people would have been licking their lips about coming here for the marathon. You see, I think that was the Valencian football stadium in full view there as they're coming towards 15 kilometers. So 43.53, that was course record pace. And then the next wave, the pink wave, getting ready on the start line. So again, the Valencia Marathon, Trinidad Alfonso, EDP 2021. So we're waiting for the next wave of our masses as the race clock ticks over 44 minutes. So our lead men are over 15 kilometers now. And that was the Levante Stadium. I should know better as a football fan myself. Yes, the Valencia Football Stadium, much bigger than that. The aerial shots always make things look a little bit smaller than they are, so that's my excuse anyway. But I tell you what, Valencia has is just so many different, sporting arenas and places to exercise. As I said, I was out for a run last night at around about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening, and the amount of runners that were out last night. And if you do get a chance to make your way here, whether it is part of one of the official races or whether you're just looking for a weekend away, then definitely do put it on your list of places to visit. Victoria Park is a 5K loop that if you like your splits and you're not just reliant on your watch and your Garmin or your different apps that are available, then you've got splits every 100 meters that are illuminated, so it's fantastic. So, and I think it's thousands every week go around the different loop there, and it's a beautiful surface that has been okayed by the different universities here as well. So it supports runners to run safely all year round, and I think that's really important, and for it to be in the heart of a city. So one thing is to claim that you are obviously Valencia, the city of running, just because you're putting on amazing races, but actually it's all year round, and over 50 races in their yearly calendar. Almost makes you want to relocate here. So we've seen those world records over 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers on the track, half marathon, and then up to the marathon distance. So, and what a sight, as I said. I think the organisers and the sponsors will just be delighted to see the masses back. So those runners covering many kilometres over the year in the beautiful park, in the vicinity, they need these races to aim for. And even though it's not the numbers that was anticipated last year, and if there hadn't been a pandemic, we could well have been up to maybe even 35,000, but hopefully that will continue to grow over the next few years again, as hopefully we get back to towards some kind of normality. And you can see another drink station negotiated by our lead runners out there. Victor Trumbo leading those paces almost like a lieutenant as he leads them through the early stages, and it still is early stages. Might not sound early stages going 15 kilometers, but if you ever helped anyone run a marathon or run a marathon yourself, you know that you can't be too gung-ho in that first 15 kilometers. You've got to get to halfway, being very in control. Steve Jones, good friend of mine, the former world record holder, always used to quote that 20 miles was the halfway point. So a 20-mile run followed by a 10K race. So, and there you go, 44:18. And we've just dropped off a little bit in that last 5 kilometers. So that was a 14:51. But we did hear talk of the wind out on the course, and there was a slight break up in the pack as well. So the pacers could well have just dialed it back a little bit to make sure that the lead group was with them. But looks like we're going to be maybe just outside 62 minutes through the halfway mark, so that might put pay. It would be needing a phenomenal second half if we would get towards that record, and course record of inside 63 minutes. So right now, heading back to one of the other groups. So out there, various different pace groups. You can see 14 tucked in that group, and it's a large group. Remember, chasing world qualifying times to 11:30 to be on the plane to Oregon. That is the athlete that we are looking for. That is Hamid Ben Duet. So in a slightly different singlet colour that I thought we might see him in today, with a hat on. So remember, Alid Lamberson's record from last year, 2:06. So I think that's Moen in the centre as well. It is Sunder Moen. So he's a 2:05 athlete, the former European record holder. And these athletes have got in that sight that 2:06. Wearing 12, Abdul Abate. So yeah, he's a 2:06 athlete. So Jeffy Kamara, we haven't spoken about Kamara yet really in these early stages. So he's not been going with that early pace or been making himself that known. So I think this group has come back together now. So just trying to look up the road to see where the leaders are. Michael can go there in the centre. Emil Pedros, the athlete chasing the German national record as well. So many people chasing national records. And they're 49.32, the 15-kilometre split. So pretty even running again. That's around about a 16:35 maybe for that last 5 kilometres. So we saw the men were just slightly down. So just dropping out of course record pace there, but that's average course record pace if they were going to run even paced. So we know last year that the second half did pick up. But still operating at that sub 220 mark, that if these runners were to get inside that, they'd be absolutely delighted. So different nationalities out there. Onuela Bardelli, the Portuguese. You've got Bonia Balelic, the Croatian athlete. Look out for McCormack. So the multiple medalist over the European Cross Country Championships, 226 best, but not running, I don't think, next week in Dublin, given the fact that she's running the marathon today. So those managers and agents, some will be heading to Dublin next week for those European Cross Country Championships. But Fiona choosing the marathon, given her step up in distance, and given the importance probably this year with those World and European Championships to get that time in the bag. It's so important to pick your time and pick your marathons, being that the amount of work that goes into the marathon preparation, and you know, the safety and quality of Valencia. That's why it will be put in the calendar by so many, just as security. Given last year, I mean, those statistics, when you start looking at them, 61 Olympic qualifying times, absolutely phenomenal. I think it was 11 national records, and you know, you start looking at 30 runners inside 210, and there we go. That is the Valencia football ground. So a little more dramatic than the last stadium I gave it credit for. So there you go with that beautiful three-sided high-tiered stadium there. There's a lot of history in that ground. So 53 minutes on the race clock. So the next important landmark we will get is the halfway. Remember, this is one of 4 World Athletics label events. So platinum being the highest honour. So for this Valencia Marathon, Trinidad Alfonso EDP for 2021. The marathon is or the half marathon is gold, as well as the 10 kilometres also, and then even a silver for the 15 kilometres. So not too many running cities can boast 4 of the World Athletics label events. But I think, as I said, the support, the concept created in 2014 by the Trinidad Alfonso Foundation, so as well as with the Valencia City Council, again without councils and those behind the scenes, making sure that, especially in the current climate, making sure things are run safely, protocol-wise, and so many runners said taken to the streets year on year. Josefa there wearing 161. A bit of music on the side, bit of atmosphere here as we come to 9:10 local time, a little bit earlier if you're in other parts of Europe. In the back of that group, Bronas Chepkouri there. It's been further up, but again, just not really making too much difference earlier on. So again, could have been dropping back to get a drink at various stations. And Hamsana Nagasa against the athlete on the left of the screen wearing those arm warmers. Gabriel Gay, the Tanzanian athlete, to his right. And he's been there pretty much other than that little kind of break up in the formation. But Lawrence Chirono has such a good record. And you know, second here last year. He would have been slightly disappointed with that, given that he knows how to win so many races and step on the top spot of the podium. But I think for a lot of these runners, to make sure they've got that fast time under their belt. And it was a surprise to see him out-sprinted in those Olympic Games in Sapporo. So love the split screen here. It really does make our job so much easier, and you back home as well. So many races now starting to really pick up on this, and so you can see exactly what's happening right in the center in those orange shorts. Asmira Gebru, who's looking so economical again. 1:53. Bronas Chepkouri there with that high heel recovery. And they're the club vests, whether they're local or further afield. So keeping the athletes nicely compact. Batuta Herpa there again, another 2:21 athlete. So little wave to the crowd, I think, a little bit of direction. That's the only thing that can happen with these large packs, and I think the runners are just trying to give signal to behind. There are, even on this course, that it's pretty much almost ironed out any of the major turns, but there are just a couple. And the same with drink stations, just being awake, just being alert of those. So anyone that's running a pack, even for your Sunday run, that I'm sure many of you either will head out for later today, or maybe some of you even met up early this morning. But even when you're running in a pack on a morning run, if you just don't take your eye off what's happening, whether you're tripping on the person in front, or whether you don't see a turn or a corner or a curb coming, that could be absolute disaster. So a little bit of communication between runners is just so important. And I think this really does give a good aerial shot of the shelter some of the runners will get. And unless they are very unlucky with some of the directions of the wind, they will get good shelter. It's almost like a track-like surface underneath. So temperature's probably around about 12 degrees now, so almost absolutely perfect. And the wind doesn't seem as gusting as we might have feared at one point in the week leading into the race. There were some much windier days. So again, I think the organisers would have taken this weather hands down. So remember, the original plan, the lead group were looking at 61.45. I think they might have slipped outside that at the moment. The second group, Mano Kipagat, were looking at 62.45. Tirop and Cabarrus were looking at 64.30. And then that World Championship group, that's 65.45. And that was Javier Guerrera, the Spanish athlete, trying to lead some of his compatriots to that time, and some of the international athletes that are coming over for that 2:11.30 time in mind. And then Turkey, the 67.15 pacer for that European qualifying time for Berlin. So lots of things on offer here. And given the strength we've had previous years, that we expect, you know, a whole host of people inside that European qualifying time as well. That'll be a great boost for European running. So in the women pacing, we were looking at 69.45. You see Struzel, Cesarek and Overall on our screen there. You can see at the 4, they were charged with around about 69.45 through the halfway. Second group, Plains and Gemelas, were looking at 72.30. And then we were looking at 74.45 that world time. So looking at around that 2:30 and under mark, 2:29.30 is the goal there. Ezra will be in charge. That's about 3:32 a kilometre, and then 76 minutes. So Martinez Baranas is the pacers judged with those times, looking to get inside that European time, as well as the 78.45 group. Sanchez is the pacer in that group. So again, the quality of the organisers, having 5 pacers groups in the men, 4 in the women. So and then those elite fields, Mark Rogue and Jose Antonio Radlat do a sterling job year on year, making sure that quality fields are assembled. So not so easy to do in this current situation with so many marathons in the fall in this period. So I think as some marathons go back to their normal spring dates, you know, London Marathon or October again next year, so there are going to be some clashes, and there have been certain movements of other races as well, so it does make it a little bit harder for athletes and their coaches and agents to plan around and make sure that they pick the right ones and they do get selected and invited to the right races. But again, lots of good communication to make sure the right people have turned up today. A few issues obviously in the last few weeks with various changes in countries' protocols and making it a little bit more difficult for some to travel. Some nations aren't here because of that. So again, our our wishes to those athletes that have been impacted with that. And I think those organisers will be hoping those races in the new year aren't hit by further restrictions, because the planning with the fields and visas, and even just the planning, these athletes, their training would have been planned months out in advance of this race, unless there has been a dramatic change of circumstances that we have seen with a couple of athletes. One of them being Kinde Antoine, who was obviously not able to toe the line in London. So that's our leaders there. I'm not sure those leaders up front are correct in terms of Benjamin Fletcher and Killian O'Leary, but I know Bernard Nego was definitely one of our lead paces with Victor Chumbo on his side. So 62.18, yes, we did anticipate it was starting to drop from the 10-kilometre point onwards. So we're looking at being around about 30 to 40 seconds outside that halfway split. So you would anticipate that they would not drop a 60-30 second half. So it looks as if Evans Jabet's 12-month course record 2:03 is going to be safe. But this is about racing now. It is about there are really healthy prize structures if you look at the bonuses for winning, and I think one of those will be winning inside 2:04.30. So at the moment 62.18 does give them that to aim towards being inside 2:04.30, and then the various time bonuses for those behind as well. So even if they're not winning, even down to top 12, being inside certain times as well will be absolutely critical. So in the second group, that looks like on the right-hand side of the screen. Another nice aerial shot. So to the right hand side, looks like that is at the plage of the beach. As we're coming towards 65 minutes, so probably a few minutes away. We're inside probably a mile of the halfway split for the women, and I think inside 70 minutes would be right on pace for that sub 220 clock in. And their athlete, Hamid Ben Duet, just shaking those arms out with the cap. It's got some really good company there. This group are operating right on that kind of 2.6 mark at the moment. See Sondermoen in there. Jeffrey Kimura is tucked right in that group, as well as looks like big Ethiopian contingent as well, wearing 12. Abate Pedros, the German athlete. The Eritrean Gabrigaris is the athlete in the cycling shorts to the back right, just to Abate's left, or right, sorry, with Abate and his left. And Hamid Ben Duet, 2:07.03 lifetime best, so he needs 30 seconds for that Spanish record. And again, there was healthy bit of prize money on offer for that. I think it's 25,000 euros if he can land that today. So that would be a very good payday from the local athlete that will be getting great support out on the course. So it's lead group at the moment. Looks like maybe 2 paces now. Victor Chumbo, I can't see him on the screen there, so this is just a fraction ahead. Mustigo and Nagano are the 2 paces there, shoulder to shoulder. Looks like Kinde Antoine wearing number 4, just tucked in behind. Where he's been for almost all of the race. That beautiful running style of Lawrence Chirono. Charlotte Desso in that group, as well as Nagesa. Gie, the Tanzanian athlete, on the right hand of your screen there. And our lead women just starting to thin out a bit, this group. You can see the sustained running. Maybe just lost a few of the local runners, or the those that have travelled looking for that sub 220 clock in. And now that's a great shot, isn't it? The cheers, and that's where this course really does have a huge advantage, with the doubling back to parts of the course where the masses are out cheering. So it's almost a moving carousel of runners. The elites going one side, and look at that, and someone with some national flags attached to their bikes. So great bit of atmosphere there. But I think it's great for the masses to see the elites go through, and hopefully that would have given them a bit of a boost.
Tiene más mérito aquello, porque están 2 horas más.
So debut there, you can see wearing 160. So that's Walde, the Ethiopian, and another one we looked out for, Dagofa. So 2 Ethiopians in that league group making their debuts. So again, it'll be interesting. There you go, halfway split. Matusa 69.41. So Pacers have done a great job. That's exactly what we wanted. Now, yeah, that course record, I think that is gone. So be hard pushed to run a 67 halfway split on the second part of this course, but it does mean all aims are on that sub 220 clocking, and given that there's almost a half a dozen or maybe even more tucked away in this league group for the elite women, so that's going to be the aim now. Because if you look at the kind of benchmark for absolute elite status right now in the women's marathon kind of sphere, then you're kind of looking at sub 220 being the goal there. And last year hits again the quality and the quantity inside that. So, but even sub 222. No, sorry, sub 220. And then you look at the price structure. So again, similar to the men, those different times will represent different amounts of financial reward when they cross the line. So again, that sub 220 is the upper time limit for that. Obviously, breaking records along the way, whether that was course record or even world records, has an additional payment to it as well. Still the paces there, those lead men. We expect them to go to 30k or even further, given that they are very good quality runners themselves. But they would almost be using this as maybe a training run themselves for a marathon in the new year. So next drink station, you can see the numbers attached to the stations, so they will know which one it is for them. Again, we'll have a slightly different mixture of what is required at this point in the race, so to maximize their fluids, maximize their intake of carbohydrates, or whether it's any types of caffeine or sugar within there as well. So again, very individual to the runner and their stomachs as well. So the last thing you want to do is take the wrong drink for 2 reasons. You don't want to take it on yourself, but also means the runner you have taken won't have their drink. So bit of etiquette at the drink stations, and we have seen that broken sometimes previously. And then they'll be also taking advantage of the water stations at multiple places on the course as well. So our paces again, you've seen this in the last few drink stations, where it has broken up at the drink stations from being a very compact group, and you can see that wind. You can almost see whether. And yes, you can see the flags now. They're going into a headwind, so almost the worst time to be visiting a drink station and for it to break up again, just because the paces in this period are going to be so important to our runners. And there you can see 25 kilometers on the right hand of the screen. 1:13:55 unofficially. So yeah, about 52 seconds outside of the course record time. There you go, 53 on the screen. So confirmation of that, 1:13:56. Nago and Alexandra so doing a great job, the two Kenyans. And they have brought the group back together, that's good. But nothing is worse than having to gap back to those paces and having to work too hard. So Kinde Ntwana, he's looking good for my money at the moment. So disrupted preparations, having prepared for a marathon in early October. So that's a tough one psychologically, let alone physically, to adapt and to change. And and also just to come back from that, you know, that disappointment, but also the unknown. I know various people have had COVID, and it's impacted people differently. Obviously, can impact your respiratory system. So I'm glad to see at the moment it doesn't look like any lasting effects on the athlete there from Ethiopia. And there, the sunglasses of the athlete representing Brazil right in the center of the screen there, Daniel do Nascimento. So he's giving that this record a really good go. He's a 2:09 at best, but at the moment that group operating around about that 2:06 mark, and Jeffrey Kamara there just almost urging a little bit. So with that gap back from the lead group, something's got to happen at some time. So this second group were paced at a slightly different pace structure. Abraham Kapmarich there in the run check colours in the blue at the front, and then it looks like Kenneth Kiprop Ranju, the other pacer, both wearing 90 and 91. So they were due to go through a little bit slower than the lead group, but obviously given the lead group have gone through a little bit slower, it'll be interesting to see what that gap is down the road. And again, with two paces, that group's now down to 6 in that lead group. Volta, a gunner there at the back of the group as well, another Ethiopian. Haven't spoken about him yet. So again, many of these runners that are just hidden away out of sight, they've done a good job. So it's almost, that's an art of a marathon runner, is to almost stay unnoticed earlier on. So it's a bit like the analogies towards boxing, very similar, that don't get involved in too many fights or scuffles earlier on. You just want to get where you are very economically, and then when the big punches, when the fight does really go down, you're ready for it. But again, just a slight gap does seem to be breaking up at certain points. Whether that again is the wind, whether there's a crosswind, whether that's just a slight injection of pace at certain times. But these paces are getting some good information out on the course as well. But it is, you know, so tough to get it exactly right. They would have been given certain orders on paces, and then making sure that they, within that, obviously bring the runners through at a controlled pace as well. Now back to our lead females. So remember, Rama Tusa, the winner, triple winner of the Rome Marathon. So 2016, 17 and 18. It's her first race in Valencia. So well raced throughout Italy. She also won the Padua Half Marathon. But this is a big step up. And at the moment, running very well in that lead group, being very aggressive in that lead group as well. So Dagufa is the under-20 world 3,000 meter champion from Big Gosh in 2016. So also with Walde, so I think making their debuts. So she's got a personal best of 68.15. So that's why cruising through in just inside 70 minutes is proving to be very economical. So Molde herself, again, a very talented under-20 athlete, third in the World Cross in China in 2015. So she's also got a 69.22 personal best, so not far off that. So probably under-raced at that half marathon distance, but yeah, I think going Walde and Bernadette de Geffer, two athletes making their debuts, and at the moment tucked in that lead group. It's always fascinating watching marathon runners wearing 160 and 161 making their debuts. There's no exact science sometimes in terms of having run a good half marathon to nailing the full marathon distance, but can be a good indication, and also depends who's looking after them as well. Just see that slight lean into what seemingly looks still like they're running into a headwind. 27 kilometers. So heading towards the Arts de Valencia. So that'll be a building on their right-hand side very shortly. You can see it there, just in the distance. It's a beautiful building, an iconic part of the landscape here of Valencia. And then they will take a left-hand turn twice round to 28 kilometers past Torres del Serrano's, the archway and the turrets there. So again, yeah, you can see that wind. It's tough out there. It's making it really difficult for the runners. So probably one of the few inclines on the course, given it's only 23 meters of incline for the whole race. But into a headwind. But yeah, splits have slowed down. So that second group, they went through in 63:02, Camora and Sonja Moen. So little distance behind this group. But if anything was to happen to this lead group, once the pacers do split up, then someone from that second group, they could well close that gap, which that would be fascinating running in the second half. There's one of those left-hand turns I was just talking about. You can see the park below, and you can see that wind. So they should get now for the next at least almost a kilometre, a bit of wind on their backs, as that wind will blow them easterly. See New Balance sponsors there, their flags blowing in the wind. So they're going to take a left-hand turn and then get almost a nice bit of downhill running. So if they did lose a few seconds over that last kilometre, then they should pick it back up a little bit now. But again, that is hard when you're an hour and 22 into the race to be changing pace like that. And the Torres del Serranos that I just mentioned, again, beautiful part of the landscape here in Valencia. It's a beautiful mix where I'm sat right now with the new build of Valencia mixed in with the old and traditional areas of Valencia as well, with that beautiful running park in the centre, with multiple different sports arenas in there as well. Saw people last night playing handball, football, baseball, so many different sports going on. There you go, 25 kilometres. There's Tusa there, the leader, so 1:22, so yeah, just under a minute off course record pace, but that was obviously that 2:17 course record, so operating still in that sub 2:20 mark. I'll tell you what, I am impressed. Look at the amount of athletes in this 2:20 group. So as I said, some of them will be local runners from Spain, some will be those that have travelled far and wide to be here. As I said, I've seen a few British vests of various clubs tucked in there as well. So getting a really good experience themselves, and getting a little bit of airtime as well. So I'm sure friends and family back home will be spotting them, cheering, shouting. So it is surprising to see Jeffrey Camora just back off that lead group, but whether that was the plan originally. So on his way back from injury, talked about earlier, that mass amount of cycling on the turbo trainers to get himself fit, but maybe it's just unsure of his absolute race fitness. So his personal best still stands from his debut back in Berlin in 2012. So that really does show you two things: is longevity, and running 2.6 back in 2012. That was obviously pre the shoe technology that we have today, but also the fact that someone with Jeffrey's quality over the half marathon world cross country distance that hasn't between that time nailed a super fast marathon. Obviously he's won New York twice, but he's due a fast time. So it's going to be tough though if they're going to bridge this gap, because the quality of this group up front at the moment, and if they can battle their way through the next couple of kilometers, then when they do make that final turn, then they're hopefully going to really pick up. But we're expecting now, as they head down, this is going to pick up a little bit as they go down towards 29, so it'd be a bit harder probably for that next 5 kilometers, and then maybe as they turn past that 33 kilometer point, then that could maybe be the last of the worst bit of wind on the course. But you can see they're tucked between the buildings here. They're getting some great shelter. Nice bit of noise on the course side as well. So coming up to 29 kilometers, going up Sidapal, and they will head towards the Palacio del Macanas dos Argos, and that'll be just past the 29 kilometers. So as a marathon runner, having your mindset on getting to that 30 kilometers, and that will be the pacer's aim as well. So get to that 30 kilometers, that's where a lot of their pacing duties would have been, or contracts would have been scheduled. So for them, their working day is almost done. If they can go any further, then I'm sure there'd be bonuses on offer for them for that. But Alexandra Mastigo's done a good job alongside Bernard Nigo, as they have a little chat to each other. So and maybe just signaling there, you can see that wind, the flag going in the right direction for our runners there. And there you go, just taking that right hand turn. So it won't have been an easy job for the pacers. So given the breezy conditions, certainly been a little bit more challenging than previous years. So the 30 kilometer split when the course record was set was 1:27:42. So that has ticked away. We did expect that, but we dropped off by almost a minute. So whether any sections have picked up, you can see the NN colours on the front of that chase group. But still, this lead group looks controlled, and there's still enough numbers there. It was 6 away. But unless something was dramatic to happen in this lead group, but can't quite see the chasers behind closing that gap too significantly. Open that group. I don't know. Deso, yeah, Antoine. It's a strong group, isn't it? Lawrence Chirono in that orange singlet as well. So there you go, 30 kilometers on the right-hand side, 1:29:06. So yes, it is slowing. We are dropping off the goal pace, so probably around about what's that, 1:24 off course record pace. So, but I'm expecting with these runners in here that the last 10 kilometers is going to pick up. You see a view there, just in the upper distance. That they will go past at 39 kilometers, but Placer d'Elboz, the bullfighting ring there, you can see that in the top corner. That they will pass, they will double back again. So there you go, 1:23 off course record. So it has dropped off significantly. That's the tough nature of this race, I think, with the conditions. And again, another beautiful aerial shot. So it looks so calm from up here, but those runners have definitely felt the wind out on the road. As the women are now over 90 minutes of running. So now into the last 50 minutes of running. So many of their training runs and efforts will have been, you know, sort of getting themselves ready, practicing for this, simulating what this was going to feel like, because totally different feel to just going out and running a steady 50 minutes at marathon pace. Doing it when you're fatigued, doing it when you're in the middle of a race, doing it when the pressure's on. But these debutants running really well at the moment. So that is 161 on your screen there. So it's interesting to see Bayano Dagafa. So her debut, and I think her teammate in front of her, Atane Walde, is the other Ethiopian athlete. So the shoulders are starting to rock. Would expect that. This was the part of the course where we saw the men running into the worst of the headwind. And even if you are sat in the middle of a group of paces, you're still going to feel the wind to some degree. Nancy Jalala there is looking good, and I know her personal best 2:36. Now that is true major revision today. Jalala has been in that group, and again, we haven't been able to see too much. There's not been too much change in the positions within that group. They've been fairly controlled and sustained. And again, they're going to make the welcome left-hand turn with that wind behind them as well. So it's Juzel there on the left. So it's still Jeremiah Chezarek and Scott Overall. The three paces that have been there from the very beginning. Joe Laggett there on the inside. So again, moving very well, just having a little look to her right hand. And she will see Romara Tusa there. Again, some good noise on the side of the course. I'm sure they'll be appreciating that. Almost rhythmical with the runners. So some runners getting those gels on board. So again, some of the elites that will be obviously within part of their makeup of their drinks, but don't forget these runners that are running with these lead women, they won't be getting their individual drinks bottles out there, so some of them will have to have carried their own gels, and they'll be mixing that with the water out on the course as well. So the two paces, looks as if that they've got a second wind literally, and that could be the fact that oh no, you can see the wind's in their face again. They've made that turn again. There you go. So but they know they're going to get a little bit extra for every kilometre that they can go. And can't quite see who's giving chase behind at the moment. but this will help. Every kilometre over 30 kilometres is really going to help. And actually could be Norbert Keegan there actually with pacer 88. So Bernard Vigalo there, and so it could be the first maybe ask of a question as we've gone past 30 kilometres. Well, now even past 32 kilometres now. So getting towards that business end now. We talked about that last 10 kilometres being the race mark. There's 29 kilometres for the lead women. Next split we get is 30 kilometres. See, it's still a busy group there in the lead women. Lots all tucked in that lead group. So remember, we are going out in 4 different languages: Valencian, Spanish, and French next door. And my French colleague next door had a fascinating journey where he had an issue with flying, so had to drive all the way here, 8 hours. Now that's dedication to the cause. So I think I worked it out for my doorstep. It would be driving from home to Paris. So that's the dedication of our commentary team here. So I hope he's got a strong coffee next door as well. So going out to multiple countries. So again, if you have joined us this morning, wherever you are, so again, we're delighted you've joined us for the Valencia Marathon, Trinidad Alfonso EDP. It is great to have you here, and great to see so many of our runners out there on the streets. I think the masses being back has really added a really big important factor back. I think last year's elite race was just really important in an Olympic year or an Olympic qualifying window, but I think having the masses back in what is the running city, and as we've talked about, so much investment, and not just for one race but for multiple races. It's up to 50 races in the race program here at Valencia, but just the sheer numbers of people that run in the park on a daily basis, and the support to the local running community. So I think that's something over the last few years. I mean, if you look down at the winning times, but also you just look at the numbers, the sheer numbers of entries. Said non-pandemic, we would have been up to probably around about 30,000 for this race this weekend, but derailed last year. But I think absolutely delighted everyone, and lots of safety things in that had to happen. The expo was a smaller affair than previously, and obviously runners and those staff wearing their masks as well. But the last couple of days, different rules been brought in by the government of Spain, so you now have to wear or show your vaccination passport to certain places to eat and drink, and I think they're just trying to make things safe. But waves separated by 15 minutes as well. Again, that's been a conscious decision to make sure that numbers as well have been safe, and people in close proximity. But I think, again, the money that's raised for charities as well, with the masses being back. There's Pacer 88, who's done a sterling job. The athletes, you can see him leaning into that wind. I think his job is almost done. You can see Chirono there, just coming on to his shoulder, almost to say, maybe it is time for us to take over. Get this, I say race started, it is definitely started, but maybe the race or the push towards the finish, because this is going to come down to tactics now in this large group of, there's still 5 athletes there, so I'm trying to work out who we've lost. Things are going to start breaking up now, and whether anyone has made their way back. So I'm sure Mark Rogue and Jose Antonio Radulant to be watching from the lead vehicle or from the feed themselves. So they would have had a view on how the race would have unfolded in our chats last night over dinner. So we had our views on how it might happen, but the marathon is just one of those events that you can predict to a certain point, but then certain predictions go out the window. So Ramo Tusa there, 1:39.14. And our two debutants there, well, Degufa Chigala there is running very well. So really good to see. Magat is currently in second place in that lead women. So 1:39. So yeah, 1:07 outside the course record, but that does mean we're operating inside 2:20 for the women. That's the goal pace. So for the men, the next split will be interesting to see to what extent that we've maybe dropped outside now even the 2:05 mark. 34 kilometers. So course record last year was 1:42.18 at 35 kilometers. So it does look like obviously that is definitely safe for another year. But I'm sure that would just give even more fuel and motivation to the organisers for the race of 2022. There, Chirono. Start looking or trying to look for body language, whether it's any grimaces on the face. Miguel actually looks pretty good for the pace, and have a little look over his shoulder. Every time I think he's done, he gets a second wind again. So been very, very impressed, and he's done a great job. And he's probably thinking, I'll get to 35 kilometers. That again will be a very healthy pay packet, and for pacers as well, they need to pick their right amount of races that they're going to pace with the races that they're actually going to go the full distance as well. So it's an art getting the right balance right, and some get known as just pacers as well. So given that the marathon majors now and the major city marathons are just so tough, you know, for prize money now, you know, whether it's difficult to get appearance money and also prize lists, you can run very fast. I mean, if you look at last year, there were 17 runners inside 2 hours and 8. So yeah, you could well finish inside 2 hours and 8 and not win any prize money. So that's a phenomenal kind of statistic. Whereas obviously a few years ago, that would have won you most city marathons, or at least put you towards the podium and definitely top 5. So that landscape, as he said, has changed. So some of that is down to technology, but some of that is also down to just the sheer volume and sheer numbers as well that we have, and quality amounts of depth in different nations. So that could be our leading runner from Spain in the female group. See if we get confirmation of that. Again, just look at the masses and the amount of people tucked in these league group, that it does make it difficult to pick out every single runner in there. Now, this could be it. 35 kilometers. So maybe the gloves are off now. There you go, 1:53 off the course record. 1:44.11. And now Chirono just decides just to stretch the legs. Now we're starting to ask some questions. They've gone through 35 kilometers, so they're going to head down. The wind is predominantly on their backs now. maybe one of the quieter parts of the course spectator-wise. They've gone past the zoo area of Valencia that was just before 34 kilometers. So again, they'd have been so in the zone, not really taking any probably sights on board. And the sight they have now is coming towards that finishing line. They're inside 7 kilometers. So this is the business end. This is the race time that is going to be absolutely fascinating to see how it unfolds. Whether anyone from the chase group behind can even think about contemplating contemplate to close that gap. So again, if you're joining us here, welcome this morning to the Valencia Marathon Trinidad Alfonso EDP 2021. So the elite race survived last year, the masses did not. The masses are back, and the always quality elite fields are here. So chasing those top spots, chasing those places on the podium. Also for these athletes, they want to put down a good time. So that world qualifying time, that will be assured, but it's about gaining selection for those World Championships in Oregon in July. Eugene, one of the homes of track and field, but right now Valencia, definitely one of the global power cities of road running. As I said, for their races in the World Athletics gold and silver and platinum races, but then also just the climate and the general running culture that they've got here as well. So the support of Valencia City Council with the Trinidad Alfonso Foundation, and then the various different partners as well, those that work within the city, and those partners, those sponsors that play such a pivotal role in these races to ensure that the right things are in place at the right times, the right athletes that are invited, and then the right paces that we had set the race up. So everything has to fall into place. I think we're looking at a time maybe just inside 2:05 maybe. I expected the pick up in this last 7 kilometers. Some good cheering, some good support. I think that's our maybe our first of our Spanish athletes out there. But it's difficult to tell again. There's just so many bodies. I mean, these runners, I think, are running inside 2:30, and there's just so many sheer numbers in there. Great to see. So again, we're looking at any distress on the faces. I can't see any at the moment. Just very controlled nature. Maybe just a few grimaces. And they're still moving off the ground pretty well at the moment. But could well be Antoine is just starting to just move to the front. Little look to his left, and we have now gone to 4 now. So 6 became 5, that became 4. So Norbert Keegan right there as well. Well, that could be the first bit of distress. Looks like he's not quite moving how he was earlier, Hamid Ben Duet. So, and oh no, it's not him. There you go. I thought that camera had gone up the road, but it hasn't. So worry over. So we could still be heading towards or getting close towards that Spain record in the marathon. But here's our leading female for Spain, and just trying to catch the number there. And you can hear the wind. Still very, very loud, vocal, which kind of does show us that at certain sections of the course it is still tough out there. And again, we've been lucky with these throughout today. Some, you know, fantastic aerial shots. And there we got 4 athletes. We're heading towards 37 kilometers. Little look at their watches. So coming now up towards almost 5 kilometers of running to go. So for these runners with 5.2 kilometers, that's a little over or under 15 minutes of running. Maybe under, given the quality of these runners in here and the prize purse on offer. Tanwa looks good in the centre there. The chasers behind her, maybe just the slight bit of distress on Lawrence Chirono. So just dropping back. He was aggressive for a second ago. Just starting to maybe just lose a metre or so. So now it's going to be really important about staying in contact. The marathon, you will have certain points of the race where, you know, you go through tough patches. You know, how long they last for. And that's like Deso there, I think maybe with bib number 7 on. He looks good. The 2:04.53, man. He does look good. Chirono there just getting back in contact. Guille, I think that's the Tanzanian athlete, Guille, who's also right there as well. So leading women. Oh, this is fascinating now, seeing the race unfold. Nancy Jacques there, I think, yeah, here's Nancy, and she does look really good as well. So running what looks very much within herself at the moment. Again, a little check of the watch at each time. So these runners, they will know the kind of paces they're looking for. So obviously Nancy, that's 65:21 in Berlin over the half marathons distance. So, I mean, don't forget her 2:36. That was almost just a run out over the distance. So, you know, when you've run 65 minutes for a half marathon, then you probably should be inside 2:20. It was one of the obviously one of the fastest times in the world until some very fast half marathons after that. So Gilligat there looking very controlled. Now here we go. Is this the big move? I said he looked good a second ago. Deso looking very, very controlled. There was almost no kind of stress on his face a second ago. And now he looks like he's asking some big, big questions of the field behind. So 6th place last year. So only 4th in the trials for the Ethiopian team for the Olympic Games. So none of them, obviously the Ethiopians finished the race, but and then went to Chicago. It didn't go to plan. So I tell you what, if you're going to bounce back from disappointments, this is how to do it. And he didn't look so good a second ago, but Lawrence Chirono, he knows how to race, he knows how to win, and he definitely knows how to place here. So Chirono starting to get back in contention. So remember, course record, that is gone. So this is about trying to win. And they will have a little bit of a time in mind. Obviously, there are certain times that link towards the performances. But again, that really will probably only be an afterthought if they can get to that finish line first. So little look over their shoulder. So it is the classic Ethiopian versus Kenyan battle now. Charlo Deso. So he has a break, and for the first time he suddenly doesn't look so good. And there you go, Chirono goes almost straight past. And Deso now from probably 500 meters ago looking like $1 million or euro, shall I say, to not looking quite so good. We did say the marathon is absolutely fascinating, and again, I will say it again, that boxing analogy where they take a swing at each other and then and then maybe regret having taken that swing. So there you go. Stadion del Norte there. And beautiful bit of history there in the centre, next to the train station that I will be jumping on later this afternoon, taking the train back down to Alicante. Beautiful along the coastline. So again, if you are looking to get out to Valencia, then there are lots of different options to get out here, whether it's direct or whether it's one of the airports close by that you can catch a train or a bus. So definitely put it on your bucket list. I can't surely sell it enough to you. So, but as I said, even if you're just coming out for a weekend to Valencia or close by, then it is a beautiful city and region as well. So now the leading women, it is splitting up now, and it looks like one of our paces, or maybe they might have split up. Sometimes the paces do that. They do sometimes look after various groups out on the route as well. So it might be that is the case out there. So, and also we're looking at various national records going under threat, even when we go down the different time blocks as well. So it was a sheet given to us that almost had 20 national records being aimed for. There, Gelagat there, 1:55.42, and Waldo is 16 seconds. So there you go. That's the gap back, 1:54. So through 35 kilometers. So 7 kilometers of running. So 1:27 off that course record. So still operating in sub 2:20 pace. So that is great to see. So we saw earlier that Irene Pallagio is the first of the ladies of Spain out on the course. So Jeffrey Camora there, back there. He's got some running to do if he's going to get on the podium. So starting to close down, and it seems like he's moving through some athletes. So you can see the white with the red bottoms there of the NN running crew. So he's got some teammates around him. It's a bit of support, but and talking about support, look out there has support around her. So the pacer doing a superb job there. That's Cesarek, Jeremiah Kiptu Cesarek, who has done a great bit of pacing. Now look at this. It is just so difficult to tell what's going on. Look at this. Oh my gosh, we're back on. The race is on. The NN crew have closed that group. Look at this. The race is on. So almost in the last 3 kilometers, the leading group, since they lost the last of the pacers and the chase group behind has caught, this is fascinating. And now we really have a race on. The second group. So Jeffrey Camora is in that group, but it's the tall striding athlete that is now asking the questions. This is phenomenal, trying to catch check of the number there. Wow, and look at the pace we're running at. This is absolutely brilliant. So I'm sure the NN crew, I know they'll be absolutely going through the roof right now. So apparently the lead cyclist next to the lead woman there was Miguel Indurain. Do you know what? We thought we saw Indurain walk past us at dinner last night, so in the street. And my French colleague said, I think that was Indurain, but we said, no, it can't be. But I think it was. So he's out on the bike now, so that's a good bit of bike running. So a bike leading, you don't get much quality in that. But talking about quality, coming up to 2 hours, and it is Philemon Kakaran, who, I tell you what, this is a great bit of running. And I tell you what, Jeffrey Camora is right there as well. So do not rule out Jeffrey as well. Look at that. And the NN crew messaging me to make sure that I get their man on TV. And I tell you what, he's doing a great job. So this race is literally changed over the last 3 kilometers from what we thought was a 5-man group that had got away to now Philemon Kacharan, who is, I tell you what, this is a great bit of running. He's obviously a 2:06:05 man, but this would be a race, I tell you what, that would go in his CV as one that he's paced to perfection. But I tell you what, it is not over yet. Given that what we've seen over the last few kilometers, Chirono is still there, and he was just about to make another move, Chalo Desu, before our man Cachuan got him. But I tell you what, Jeffrey Kamara is not just done and out at the moment, so he can close that gap. So absolutely fascinating. There he is in the center. The pain is etched on his face. I mean, that's the pain that we get towards the latter stages now, because we are not far from the last mile here, or we're very close to being in the last mile. Now this man, we know he has strength, we know he has speed, we know he loves Valencia, having run so fast here over the half marathon distance, and one of his splits that day was low 13 minutes. I think it was 13:01 that day, from 15 to 20 kilometers. So he's going to need, if he can find anywhere near that type of track speed or road speed, then Jeffrey Kamara will get right back involved. But at the moment, these three, they just have a slight gap, don't they? And absolutely fascinating running as they come down towards the latter stages of the Valencia Marathon, Trinidad Alfonso EDP. So I hope you're enjoying our coverage here. So it's great that we're going out to so many countries around the world in 4 different languages as well. It's been a pleasure being sat here this morning, hopefully giving you some good information, and hopefully talking the race up, because it has been that, look, the pain on Kamara's face now. I don't think he's going to make his way back. He's the movement and the pace of the front three at the moment, and it probably is his teammate who's doing the work now, Fernand Cachuan, who is pushing the pace on. And that lean to his left, Chirono still looks good. I talk about him being an absolutely phenomenal racer. He is that. This is a battle of the ages right now. And the camera stays on Kamara because I don't think they don't think he's done yet. But that gap is not closing. And even behind, there's a surge from a couple of athletes behind as well. But they're going to be hard pushed to get back. So fascinating. Look at that clear blue sky as we go back to Nancy Gillette, who's in the shadows there of her pacemaker. But I tell you what, if she maintains this, she's going to come out the shadows of marathon distance running. She's going to translate that 65-minute half marathon into a big marathon. So and she will be sought after at the various marathon majors, and I'm sure to come back here next year. So and the quality of her running is the fact that there were so many in that lead group of the local runners and the international runners that have travelled looking for sub 220, and it is broken up. So we have 3 right there in contention. Deso taking that turn. Look at this. It is coming down to a sprint finish here. The hemispheric here in front of us. Beautiful building. So they're onto the blue carpet. They are into the very closing stages. And it is Chalo Deso and Lawrence Chirono. Oh, it's going to be fascinating. Absolutely breathtaking scenes. The noise here, I can hear it, but it looks like Lawrence Chirono has found another gear. Now, I think he's got the finish in sight, and Chirono, second here 12 months ago, but he knows how to win major city marathons, and I tell you what, he's finished with a great bit of speed in his legs. The champion for 2021 in the Valencia Marathon Trinidad Alfonso EDP is going to be Lawrence Chirono. he's going to be just outside 2 hours and 5 minutes. But I tell you what, he will not mind at all. Lawrence Chirono is the champion for 2021. Fantastic running. Charlo Desso, who was so aggressive in those later stages of the race, he takes second. Philemon Kachuran, he's absolutely delighted, and there you go, a personal best. Jeffrey Kamara, well done, Jeffrey. So that's a big bit of running. Neguero, the Ethiopian athlete, there in 6th place, and well, he made some big moves. Kinder Twane, who's gonna have to settle, I think will be 7th place, inside 2 hours and 6. Maybe that disrupted build-up with so much going on from the issues in London. And again, look at this. Last year we had 5 sub-2.6 and 11 sub-2.6, and we were very close to that. Now it's going to be a national record of Spain. Look at this. Hamid Ben Duet is going to obliterate Khaled Lambersan's record. Oh, I tell you what, no, there you go. He's got a little bit further to go. Oh, I thought he was on the blue mat. Keep an eye on the clock. It looked like he was close. 2:06:35. Oh, my word. Keep an eye on the clock. It was deceptive. I thought he was there already. Oh, he's done it. Oh, he's so close. I tell you what, 2:06:35. There's almost 2 gantries on this finishing line, so it looked as if he was closer to the finish. Oh, wow. We're going to wait to see the official time. So Lambersan's national record set here last year, 2:06:35. And yeah, Hamid Ben Duet going over the line there with the clock showing 2:06:34. So, well, timekeepers, do your thing, as they say. Oh, wow, that hurt. You can see the pain. But it will hurt a lot less if he gets confirmation that he broke the national record. So he's been draped in the flag. So he came in with a personal best of low 2:07. So definitely a personal best, but there's going to be such a difference, isn't there, if he has broken the national record of Spain. As you can see, Lawrence Chirono in the background looks as if he's got even more life in those legs. That is great to see. And the pain of those coming over the line now. And I tell you what, that is the record of España coming out. So whether they've got confirmation of that. But I tell you what, Lawrence Chirono, he battled well within. And I tell you what, that was a fantastic run. Bethwell, Kip Kemboy. So again, he's going to run 2:08. I think that's going to be a lifetime best. So, or just outside, 2:07:41, his lifetime best. So, Gilligat there in the centre, the fatigue. You can see this is starting to hurt now. So, just over 2 miles of running. It's the first bit of distress and the first bit of kind of fatigue. Oh, this is another good run. So there's going to be some rewriting of the Spanish top 20 list. Going knee up there. Oh, that's a great run. That's going to be very close to the national record of... no, it's not, obviously, is it? It's national record. It's the European record, James, of Belgium. It's going to be a big personal best there. Bashir Abdi, obviously, the Belgium national record. But Coney up there, good bit of running. Nonetheless, 2:08. So these times, World Championship qualifying times, importantly. Look at that, that's the fatigue. Oh, that's the pain, that's the delight. So these qualifying times, these massive personal bests as well. So thumbs up, high fives. And you can see the bodies lying on the ground. Oh, big performances. So big celebrations. So still look at the clock, 40 seconds now. So more finishers coming across the line. Oh, more sub 2:10 clock-ins to be part of the history here at the Valencia Marathon, Trinidad Alfonso EDP. and we still haven't got confirmation that that was a national record, even though the sign is there, and he's been given the sign. So I'm assuming that that does give it the thumbs up that we did have a national record there. So I think we're going to have a few more national records as we go as well. So the clock has ticked over 2:10. So and last year, so many in that 2:10 and just above mark. Remember, world qualifying mark. Not that will mean too much for these athletes coming in here, given the strength of their national colours. But still good running. There's the clock, 2:05.11 for Lawrence Chirono. It was a hard-fought last 7 kilometres, and there you go. It's been confirmed, national record of Spain. So fantastic running. It was top of our national records that were being chased today. Hamid Ben Duet, what a great bit of running. And look at that, that's big, big smiles. And I don't think he's done it by too many seconds, but it does not matter. So generally out there. So trying to look down the road there to see whether that that gap maybe is closing for many of the chasers behind. That's the pain of the marathon right there. The highs, the lows, the fatigue. And these athletes, they know if they were chasing that world qualifying time, that has gone now. That'll be a slight disappointment for some. They probably would have been very close to that 2:11.30 for so long. So they're going to have to try and find another marathon later on in the year if they're going to get on that plane to Oregon. But looking to try and book her place on that plane to Oregon. Nancy Jalagat there is running very close to sub 2:20, but fatigue is kicking in a little bit in these latter stages, as has been expected. So she's got the speed over the half marathon, but as we kept alluding to, still yet to translate that, only a 2:36. But this is her first real serious marathon, so but there will be a bit of unknown in those legs in these last 2 stages. So she's probably just over a mile from the finish. So I know people will be looking out for various athletes from their countries, from their clubs. So 2:13 on the race clock for the elite men as they still stream across the line. Juan Barrios, good friend of mine, looked after by Ray Flynn, the US-based agent. Juan, a Olympic finalist on the track, and just a real credit to his country, Mexico, and he's still out there now. He's not going to get the world qualifying, but wouldn't put it past him to go and do that again in a few months' time. So Juan Juarez there, and there 30 seconds. The gap isn't closing. Waldo is having a great debut, but I don't think she's going to get top spot here at the moment, unless something dramatic happens, and that can happen. Remember, this is the marathon. That's the beauty of it. That we saw in the men's race when we thought that the top runners were done and dusted for positions. Just the second we thought that, it all changed. So yeah, and they are 2 minutes and 2 seconds off at 40 kilometers. So in that course record, 2:17.16. So Paris Chepchirchir was really moving in that last 2 kilometers. So I think what we really want to see is that sub 2:20 clocking. So, and the pacer here, I tell you what, you talk about earning your money. What a great job, because he's taken Nancy all the way, and can't quite see. We're in the shade here, so you're not getting the best pictures on the screen right now. but they will emerge into some nice sunshine in a second. And yeah, there you go. You see the cadence has dropped, but the pacer there has done a great bit of work. It's a good day's work by Mr. Chezarek, but his job's still done now, because he's still out there supporting. That sub 220 is going to mean a lot to Nancy on the left-hand side of the screen. And it is Miguel Indurain there, you can see on the left hand of the screen. So as I said, we thought he walked past us at dinner last night, but we almost took a second take. I wish I had realised though that I might have grabbed his autograph if we'd have known. So, but now 41 kilometres, so 1.2 kilometres to go. The fatigue are in those legs, you can see that. It's not going to get easier between now and the finish. But what it is about, it's about sustaining it to that finishing line. Remember, there's a big difference in payday between being inside, above and below that 220 mark. And again, just for the organisers, so Mark Rogue and shows Antonio Radulant and the whole of the team behind the scenes, because they are very competitive. Anyone that tells you they're not, they are. Every marathon, we'll keep an eye on other marathons, and they'll be seeing the performances they get. And obviously last year, 61 Olympic qualifying times, 11 national records, and they dominated the top. I know it was obviously a pandemic hit year for marathons, but I mean they formulated, or they rewrote the records from previous years. So they want to put another good marker down for 2021. And again, that 220 mark for women is definitely one of those that they have the aim. So 217, so this would be course record pace coming up now. So 217.16, Paris-Types course record is going to live another year. But now 700 meters. It's been a really good bit of running. She was in that lead group from the very beginning, and she made the move and maintained the pace more than anything. So it's going to be very close to even splits for Jalagat there. But it's going to be interesting to see the chasers behind. Oh, slight turn on the corner there. We don't want that. So a little indiscretion there between the pacer and our lead woman out there. Nancy Jalagat there, and the first of the blue mats. That can sometimes throw the athletes, because the blue mat sometimes represents coming to the finish. But remember, the finish this year slightly changed due to one of the vaccination centres. So it is in front of the hemispheric, the 3D cinema. So an amazing building. I'm out looking onto it now. So it is a beautiful backdrop here. As I said, Valencia is a city that incorporates the new with the traditional, and the running city is going to celebrate another major marathon performance here. Nancy Jalagat is going to announce her place. She's done it already on the half marathon scene with that 65:21 in Berlin, but sub 220 today is going to signpost her to all the major marathons, and maybe a place on the plane for Eugene as well. Those hotly contested Kenyan places for the World Championships in Oregon. But there's no doubting the champion here in Valencia at the Valencia Marathon, Trinidad Alfonso, EDP 2021, Nancy Jalagat, and she's gone inside 220. There you go, 219.31. What a great bit of running. And she looks, stop the watch. It's not official unless you stop the watch. So I'm sure her coach, her team will be going over that data later, but she can enjoy the moment here. we're absolutely delighted for her. Look at that. She is, oh, that is the pain of the marathon. And Etagal Wodu is going to run a phenomenal debut, just over 2:20 for the Ethiopian athlete. And again, that's painful, but she will be absolutely delighted. A 2:20, I think it was 2:20.15 debut. So that is really good running. And second place here at the Valencia Marathon. So that's Kenya 1, Ethiopia 2. So it is a Kenyan sweep for men and women. So Nancy joins Lawrence on the top spots of the men's and women's podium. And again, the race organizer was delighted. Gary O'Hanlon there finishing in the background, an Irish Masters favourite there. But we're looking out for the third female finisher. Can't be too far behind. But yeah, Nancy looks absolutely delighted. You can see the pain there as well. The marathon's tough. So who's going to be our third female across the line to complete our podium? So still world-class times here. 2:21 on the race clock. But again, yeah, that sub 2:20 clocking, that was secured. And that's what it needed to win today. Big cheers, big shouts, whether that's for a local hero, whether it's one of the Masters athlete 400, Tonchero there, great bit of running. So Irene Pallagio was the first of the Spanish ladies out there. So it'll be interesting to see whether she can get inside her personal best 2:30.07 and get close to that world qualifying time. 2:29.30. Yes, is the salute. Oh, she looks delighted, but in pain as well. And there on cue, Irene Pallagio. So she's been supported well throughout the race by the athletes to her left and right. And that this could be our third place female athlete. It could be another debutant. Benedou Degofa. And I think it is, yes, she's over the line, 2:23.04. So that's pretty good. Two debutants on the podium. That's impressive running. And again, many of these runners now have an eye on whether it's also national records. So there are a few that were being chased. There's a few that we think won't go now. When I start looking down the list. Good noise for the athlete from Spain there. So tired legs there, you can see that. So many months of training have gone into this. So some of these runners wouldn't have been in the elite race 12 months ago. So they've had to wait a full 12 months to get back on the start line. And that looks like another finisher there. That could be Asma Gabaru there. Yes, I think it was. And oh, McCormack has smashed it. Wow. Fenella McCormack, 2:24. The Irish lady. I tell you what, anyone that complains she's not in Dublin next week on various message boards, and you know who you are, that's why. That is a phenomenal performance. So McCormack there, she is again, longevity and, you know, used cross country over the years and gone to the marathon. Remember that marathon at the European Championships, and she's gone under the radar today, being that she's been chasing through 2:26.47. And so we talked about national records. It wasn't even on the national records list I was given, so it should have been. So McCormack, Fenella McCormack, take a bow, because you have just taken 2 minutes off, or 2.5 minutes off the national record of Ireland. So let's hope that maybe next week in Dublin there can be a presentation or something in the European Cross Country Championships, and celebrate what is, I think, one of the best runs by a female Irish marathon runner of all time. Obviously, John Treacy has done some fair good of work for the elite men, as well as a few others, but and Sonia O'Sullivan obviously flying the flag for so many years, but what a run there. So who's that's just crossed the line? So some times flashing in. Oh, some tire legs out there. So we're waiting for some of the official times to come up on the screen. So absolutely brilliant. Oh, so I can see some of these runners that were tucked in that lead group with the women earlier on. So they were obviously chasing those times. Now chasing the Croatian national record. That could well be Irene Pallagio, the national record, 2:25. She's going to be outside that. It's 2:25. So for Lisa Stubik, back from Zurich 2013. But it's going to be a big world qualifier. Obviously, same for McCormack. This looks like a riser of Italy. So that's a good bit of running as well. So first, our athletes from Spain are out there, 2:26. Keep an eye on that race clock. So her best 2:30. So can we get inside that? That would be one that inside that world qualifier. It's going to smash hopefully the European qualifier. So that national record of Spain, that's gone, 2:26.51. Ana Isabel Alonso, but yeah, a time inside 2:29.25 would be on the top 10 list all time. And looks like Pallagio is into the latter stages, and judging by the noise, but she must be quite close to the finishing line. Bit of ACD playing in the background. Actually, Run DMC, I should say. There you go. So, and hopefully it's not walk this way, it's run this way right now. So, as she hits the first of the blue mats. So, sending some great support. And there's some racing behind going on as well. Irene Pallagio, we're looking at that time, and we're looking to see if we can get inside that 2:29.30 mark. Oh, she's going to be there, and start looking at that Spanish all-time top 10 list, and yeah, she's going to be close to that. There's a few in that 2:28 mark. Irene getting a great bit of support through the whole course. I think that is something that, again, the runners will just be delighted to have back again. So she's going to take about 90 seconds off her personal best. There, past the gantry that will signal just around about 30 meters or so towards that finishing line. So she's going to go, I think, top 10 all time on the Spanish list. Beatriz Ross was 2:29.25, and there you go, 2:29.13. So yeah, that's a fantastic bit of running, and we've seen a national record, Hamid Ben Duet, in the men's, and we've also seen a top 10 performance world qualifier by Irene Pallagio. That's a fantastic day for the Spanish athletes on show, which is really important for any race that they do support, and they do get good support from the nationalities of the host marathon, because it really gives the crowd something to cheer. And and some good cheer for one of our hand cyclists. So he's navigated the course successfully. I'm sure the windy sections of the course wouldn't have been easy today. But all inclusive here at the Valencia Marathon Trinidad Alfonso EDP 2021. So keep an eye on the race clock. There'll be other people crossing line now. You can see the pain, you can see the joy, almost in tandem there of our two runners when they finish. As one of our hand cyclists, there he is. He has successfully navigated the course. He's done it, an official finisher. But that elite men's race coming down to a sprint finish. Lawrence Chirono, what a run. And Nancy Jalagat there, dominant bit of running inside 2:20 for the elite women's win. And the different team down there, the organisers, they will be absolutely delighted with the performances, the national records, the depth again. You only have to look down again at the record books when the rankings are done for this year. There's going to be some rewriting of the 2021 marathon lists right at the death. So this busy period of full marathons, it's been a very congested time of year. So agents and coaches and organisers hopefully can have a bit of a relaxing time over Christmas, but many of them planning and plotting 2022. Some of them back in April, so they've only just done their marathon where they normally get a year break. Some of them are going to be back again. Certain half marathons likewise as well. So expect a busy period, and obviously there is a little bit of uncertainty and a few more travel restrictions and visa restrictions and things that are coming into place. So not quite so easy to plan how we might have thought 2022 would pan out. But again, you have to take your hats off to the organisers for putting this race together and making it as safe, as well organised as it is year on year, and obviously getting the masses back. Again, that was a fundamental of 2021. Having lost the mass race in 2022, the elites got their showcase, but to have both now today, absolutely brilliant to see. And it was a slightly breezy day today. That maybe has impacted times, you know, a little bit, and definitely made the races pan out slightly differently to how we expected. But when you look at some of the performances, it maybe, you know, played into some people's hands where they came back at people in the second halves. They closed the gaps down, and yeah, we had some really high quality racing. As you look at the depth of people still crossing the line in 2 hours 32, and that looks like a sore calf there. That's never easy, if especially if it was a few kilometers ago. So the noise, the support of the crowd. That's one there wearing 579. But it is great to see, as I said, these runners getting their marathon distance. Some of them have had to wait that 12 months. That's the joy, the support. They would have got some good miles in over lockdown, but runners need races, and they've definitely had that today. Oh, you can see that little grimace. Sometimes it's as they cross the finishing line. So the body likes to move until it hits that finishing line. And I think you can see some of the donations there to the various charities, or the money that people have raised. So the course records, they stay intact. Evans Jabet's 2:03.00. That lives to fight another day. And Paris Chipchachir, the Olympic champion, that survives also 2:17.16. As I said, the organisers never sleep happy here. They will all be looking at the next year. So Marc Roge and Jose Antonio Radelant with the Trinidad Alfonso Foundation and those within the scenes, they'll be talking already to various managers and organisers to see how they can challenge those records again next year. But again, if you are a runner sat at home having watched this, if you're not inspired to run this, or you're thinking about fast marathon times in December, it's not a bad time of year to run one, so you can really enjoy yourselves over the Christmas and festive break. So, and a nice bit of training going into the latter part of the summer into the fall. Often people like training in that autumn weather. So as the temperature just drops down a little bit and the leaves fall off trees, can make it nice for getting your long runs, your mileage in. So Krishna there, another good bit of running. That's the athlete from Slovenia. So that's going to be a lifetime best. Her lifetime best is 2:36, so that's a 2:35 best for the Slovenian. So love to see what the percentages of personal bests. So and there she is. So a 2:36 personal best, 2:35.5 on the race clock. So that grimace is going to be 100% worth it for that lifetime best. So those athletes, I think she's outside. Yeah, it's outside by a few minutes European qualifying time. But and there you go, probably our youngest finisher of the day. And probably she's oblivious to where she's been on the course. I know we've highlighted a few different landmarks on the course, but I'm pretty sure that this young lady has maybe had a bit of a sleep en route, and should be the youngest female across the line. So 1:79 Ursula. So from Mexico, 2:29.11 best for Sanchez, but outside that today, tough day at the office, as it will be for some. The marathon gives as much as it takes away sometimes. But again, I hope you've really enjoyed our coverage today. It's been great taking you through today's race as our athlete, Marie Isabel Velez, another Mexican athlete. I think that's going to be a big lifetime best for her, 2:47 lifetime best. So, and 2:36 on the race clock. But yeah, going out in 4 different languages to over 100 different countries have picked up on this live feed. So I hope you have enjoyed the coverage of the 2021 Valencia Marathon Trinidad Alfonso. As I said, so many partners, organisers, sponsors involved in making sure this event can happen, just not on an elite level, but on a mass level as well. And part of the World Athletics Platinum Series, so the Gold Series of the half marathon and 10K, as well as the silver of the 15 kilometers. But some have completed the full sweep of those, the bingo of the Valencia races. And if that's not enough, there's been world records set on the track here as well. So that climate lends itself to that. So again, some celebrations there. I think running for, maybe that's Team Radelat. So that could be the team of Jose Antonio Radelat. So we get confirmation of that, but he helped to put together the fields, but that could be one of his runners in his running group there, crossing line 2:38. Still great performances. So that's operating around about 6 minutes per mile still. So again, when we do get those final results, when they do come through, I'm sure it's going to be a list of personal bests for a sprinkling of national records, world qualifiers, European qualifiers. We've had national records for Spain today. What a great run by Hamid Ben Duet. So dipping inside the record set here last year by Landersham, and there you go, there's the results on cue. So Lawrence Chirono, 2:05.12. Desu, great run, 2:05.16. Kacharan, personal best. The NN runner coming with a late surge, 2:05.19. His teammate from NN, so Jeffrey Kamara, 2:05.23, a personal best also. Good run in the air train there, Keifel, 2:05.28. Behind Negro, 2:05.27. So 7 athletes inside 2 hours 6. Antonio there inside that mark. So a real quality bit of running, and yes, that national record, Hamid Ben Duet, and the women's, and Nancy Jaligat there, 2:19.31. Awadu 2:20.16. Take of her 2:23.04. Trusert 2:23.20, and McCormack went inside 2:24, 2:23.58, and I'm sure Ireland is a buzzing right now I'm sure there's a few celebrations going on. Fowler McCormack used to be coached by a good friend of mine, Chris Jones, but now obviously rocking in the marathons at 2:23.58, just ahead of Gabriel there, 2:24.01, and some really good performances. An Italian Epis there, 2:25.20. So that's phenomenal running, and I think yeah, what we have seen today is another real show of Valencia Marathon depth here, and quality pacemaking in yeah, fairly challenging conditions in comparison to previous years here. But also we had some great racing. I think that's what people want, and I'm sure you on the live streams, you know, wanted some actual racing head to head. It wasn't just about the clock. Those latter stages was very much an uncertain period in that last 3 kilometers of who could close the gap, who might come out on top. But it was the athlete that was there for pretty much most of the race. He knows how to win, having won in Prague, Honolulu, Amsterdam, Boston, Chicago, and then obviously today going one better than 12 months ago, Lawrence Gerono. He has the fast time from last year, so today was about winning, and he did that. And then in the women's, Nancy Jalagat, what a great bit of running to go inside 2:20. Can't highlight that enough in terms of the performances that we've seen. So when you do start looking down at the list, so won't make the top 10 list, but it kind of shows the depth of running this year. It makes for the year's rankings. That goes number 7 for the 2021 female times, but won't make a dent on the 2:21 marathon times, 2:04.21. But in terms of racing today in the elite men's, I think that's one of the best races we've had in terms of change of leadership, in terms of the second group catching the first group. So great aerial shot here in by these beautiful buildings, finished by the Hemispheric, which is the 3D cinema. So a slight change in finish, so not in front of the Culture for Arts and Sciences due to it being used for vaccination, so but still spectacular. So with that platform built on the water, so with the various sponsors on show, you can see, so again all those sponsors play such a large part. Obviously the Trinidad Alfonso Foundation, the council, obviously Valencia City Council, Cultural for Aficionado, EDP, New Balance. So great work by those other sponsors like the Coca-Cola, Movie Star, obviously helping with the production of the race. So many different partners involved in bringing this to so many of you out there. So it's been an absolute pleasure, as it was 2 years ago, to be sat in the hot seat. So hopefully I managed to do a good job, as my French colleague next door did as well. So with our other Valencian and Spanish colleagues, so 4 different languages to over 100 different countries, and yeah, hopefully showcasing not just the Valencia Marathon, but Valencia as a city and as a destination, as a place that yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on your bucket list now. Look at the numbers there. If you are a runner that you're looking at that 2:45 mark, look at the runners you'll be within, and still lots of places that you could get accommodation, and very easy to eat around, very close. We were eating probably around about 600 meters from the finish and start line last night, and there were lots of places that you could eat. So often with major city marathons, it's difficult to find places to stay or even travel to, or definitely find places to eat, but it's a great city for that, and it really lends itself to runners traveling across Europe, but those maybe coming from the British Isles or internationally as well. Obviously, hopefully certain restrictions. There's a Serpentine vest, so he's travelled from the UK shores. Well done, Victor. So big smiles inside 2:45. Serpentine Club, a famous club in London. So Frank Horwell, the Great British Milers Club stalwart, who's done a lot of work, and so passed away a few years ago, but I'm sure he'll be looking down on the serpentine vest crossing the line there with a smile. So flying the flag internationally, as well as we've seen so many different nations that have been represented today. So that again, that's why we are being beamed out to so many countries. So and the flavour of the race as well. Great chatting to so many people from different countries yesterday, and heard so many different stories of obviously people that have done some great training in difficult periods, and this is it now. This is where they get to enjoy their moment, and friends and family, whether they're here, whether they've been watching it on TV, will be trying to squint at the TV now to see whether they can see their loved ones crossing the line. Big shouts as well to our production team. They've done a great job. As I said, this has been live streamed, but it also has gone out on various TV networks as well. And still they come down, still the runners. So like that on his bib there, Go Fast. I'm pretty sure that's not his name, so unless he's changed it by Deepole, but yeah, 2:46, and you can see the money racking up. There's a good screen on left hand side. I think people that have pledged money, or money that they've raised that goes into supporting various foundations. So, and these aerial shots that we've been spoilt with today. So again, thank you to the team that have either been operating the drones or the helicopters out on course as well. It's been much appreciated for the overall views, the overhead views and the aerial views of the race as it's gone on. So many people will stay in Valencia for tonight. They'll be enjoying the sounds and sights. Some will make their way, their travel back. So won't be in the easy access and accessibility with different rail and airports in close proximity. So athletes will walk down now. It's great seeing last night the goodie bags that they get. They get a great goodie bag before, then after the goodie bag, one of the best things it includes, it was fresh vegetables included in the goodie bag. So I think that should be something that every major marathon incorporates. So not too many sweets and too many sugary snacks, but something healthy to get your recovery refueling going. But they make their way down, they get refueled, they also get their medal that I'm sure many of them be wearing with pride as well. So those that didn't book a day of work tomorrow, I'm sure they'll be wearing them into work. But there'll be a few tired, sore legs over the next not just 24, 48, 72 hours, but probably into the latter part of the week. So yeah, they will have, not all of them would have been preparing as well as our elites, so there would have been a few that maybe skipped a few of their long runs, so there could be a bit of fatigue and a bit of soreness, but it'll be all worth it when they wear that medal around their necks and they enjoy that moment. But again, if you are looking to get involved, then do get your entry in early. It's always a popular race. I think be interested to see how many numbers are released for 2022. Given that we are still a little bit uncertain about the current future regarding travel and regarding the accessibility of mass participation events, but it is always well supported and expected to grow and grow if we are without certain restrictions, as it was in 2019 and into 2020 with that record number of entries in 2020. But some of those that were disappointed then, I know they're back today, and I know they're absolutely delighted with that. So the watches have been stopped in tandem. They'll look probably at the average pace for it. So gathering themselves here in Valencia, the running city. So some would have come in for a few days before, some will have just flown in or driven in the day before. So, and different preparations have probably led to slightly different results. And And there'll be a few out there that they'll be doing a marathon next week. So we all know them in our various running clubs where they'll be doing multiple marathons. They'll be at your club training session on Tuesday night. You watch. So probably wearing their marathon medal as well. So you will have to give them some kudos for that. But whether it's the smartest thing to do. So, but each to their own. So look at that. Some with life in their legs after the finishing line, others less so. So that's it, drumming up the crowd in the finishing straight. And the elite women's presentation. So that's a hugely competitive race. Benedou Tagafa there in third place. That 2:23 lifetime best. Well, it's a debut, but so it's a debut plus a lifetime best. There you go. So and another debutant, Antana Wudu. That's a great bit of running. You can see the pain. Even these small little podiums can be tough there. And there, yep, she makes it on top. A little help from Carlos there, who has been great work behind the scenes and a great help with myself. So Wudu there, taking the cup in second place on the podium, and a debut time 2:20. So that's a really good debut, and as I said, that announces herself as a quality marathon runner and someone that to look out for the future. Again, started out as a junior, and a talented junior at that, but this really is her, showing her form, and probably found her distance. That's the thing with the marathon. It's finding your distance. It's finding your time to make your debut at that distance as well. That's not always easy as well, but the champion, Nancy Jalagat there on the top spot of the podium. So you can almost just forget that 2:36 best from a small little marathon where she had a little run round. But yeah, that 65 half marathon, that announced to her the eyes of this race today, as in what she could do in translation to the full marathon distance. I tell you what, she's done that today, 2:19:30. And your top three there, Tagafa, Wolu and Jalagat. The elite women here at the Valencia Marathon, Trinidad Alfonso EDP for 2021. Different sponsors and partners on the stage as well, and they definitely should be, because these runners would not be there without the different partners, those that play such a vital part in supporting the race in terms of financial, but logistics and support. It's a team effort here in Valencia. And it's almost like a wedding shot, isn't it, where they've got different shots that need to be taken. So so they're being coordinated with the different people that are needed for each shot as well. Those cups look quite heavy after a while, so yeah, I'm not sure of the fatigue in the biceps there, but it'll be worth it. And they're going to have to find room in the suitcase now, so hopefully they didn't travel too light. That they've got room, hopefully, for that cup to make its way back to Kenya, and to our two athletes back to Ethiopia. and runners checking their watches. They've got the nice sight now. The finishing line is in sight. These runners are still way inside the 3-hour mark. We're coming up to, I think, 2 hours and 55 minutes of race time. So a lot of these, that would have been their goal, get inside 3 hours. It's a goal for some club runners, and they'll be punching the air. Some of these are very good age group runners, so running for age. So the various marathons around the world accept runners for those different age group times. So they'll be keeping an eye on those race clocks, those eyes. And this is our men's presentation. So Philemon Kacharan, what a great run. A personal best inside 2 hours and 6 today. 2 hours and 5. And I think it was 19 seconds. So, and again, just being asked just to neaten himself up again, just to make sure that the photos are ready for the sponsors, ready for the manuals for next year. Catch around there, what a great bit of running. So training partner of Eliud Kipchoge, Jeffrey Kimura, he ran here his personal best back in 2019, so we shouldn't be too surprised. But yeah, good half marathon. He paced Berlin that pace, that's 60:48. So, but he thought he had a good chance, but going with that pace. So didn't pace, so he went with the pace in Berlin, but he blew up there. So sensible pacing. I think the NN crew would have thought about it being a bit more sensible this year. Definitely was. So fantastic bit of running. But this athlete here missed out on the Olympics for the Ethiopian team. But Desso, what a fine bit of running by the Ethiopian athlete, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that. Little look of gratitude there. Nice to see a smile. And the champion, Lawrence Gerono, top spot. He looks absolutely delighted. So Kacharan, Desso, Cherono, the top three here at the Valencia Marathon. Trinidad Alfonso, EDP for 2021. And there the applause, and rightfully so, for our top three. Kacharan there, he'll be delighted at 2:09, run the hard way in Berlin, and today a little bit more sensible. Jeffrey Kimura, his training mate, pacing it almost to perfection. They almost pulled it off, but it was those in the lead group, Desso and Cherono, who probably had it slightly easier towards the latter stages, where when they did slow down, they gathered themselves. And Lawrence Gerono gathered himself the best of anyone to find a sprint finish, to cross the line, 2 hours, 5 minutes and 11 seconds. And again, the sponsors come up on stage and supporters of the race. And again, very grateful to them for their support of the 2021 Valencia Marathon. Trinidad Alfonso, EDP. And so from myself, James Thie, it's been an absolute pleasure to take you through the Valencia Marathon Trinidad Alfonso EDP for 2021 here in the running city of Valencia. We've seen the elites, we've seen the masses, we've seen national records, and hopefully you've enjoyed the racing this morning. So we will see you back next year in 2022. There's Miguel and Jerain. For myself, James Thie, we will see you back next year.